सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। We are in the third Anuvaka. So if you have the third Anuvaka, we'll chant the entire length of it. If you know, join me. Namah sahamanaya nivyadhina avyadhininam pataye namo namah kakubhaya nishangine stenanam pataye namo namo निषंगिण इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वंचते परिवंचते स्तायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः सृकावेभ्यो जिगागंसद्भ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमोऽसिमद्भ्यो नक्तञ्चरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नमः उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वावेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः. In this we have seen till the उष्णीषिने गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो. Up until that we have seen. So now repeat after me. Nama ishumadbhyo dhanvavibhyascha vo namo. From the second beginning of the second Anuvaka, Namo Hiranyabaha Vesenanye Dishancha Pataye Namo Namo. From there up until the last mantra, Ushnishine Giricharaya Kulunchanam Pataye Namo. Up until that mantra, we were describing, or the Rudra mantras were describing the Lord as the Sarveshwara, as the Lord of the Lokadhipaha. Lokadhipaha, the Lord of everything. So you would find that there is Pataye in every mantra. So starting from the first mantra of the second Anuvaka, so you will see that Pataye Namo, Pataye Namo, that Pataye Namo has been constantly repeated. So that shows the nimitta karana of the Lord. Now moving forward from the Sarveshwaratva, it will be the aspect of Sarvatmakatva. Sarvatmakatva, he being one with everything. It's the same difference as in the 10th and the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So one is the nimitta karana, the other one is the upadana karana. So therefore we will not find pataye repeated again. It will be now a different format of mantra. Nama ishu madhyo dhanva vibhyascha vo nama. It is not pataye nama, it is O namaha. Unto such are salutations and prostrations. Nama ishu madhyo dhanva vibhyascha vo namaha. Salutations to ishu madhyaha. Ishu madhyaha, ishuhu, the arrows. Dhanva vibhyascha, the one who is holding the bow. So in this Sarvatmakatva Swarupa, he is not being worshipped as the Ishvara, but he is the very expression of these different forms. You are in a very dire situation, and in that dire situation you are also thirsty, hungry, directionless, and suddenly appears some Satpurusha who parts with their food and water. And having parted with their food and water, not just give you the physical comfort, but also tell you that you seem to be lost. The path that will take you out of here is just behind these bushes. And it is such a relief. And before you turn around to thank that person, the person has already gone. So you say, Arre Bapre, must have been Lord himself in that form. Have you ever come across such situation? So many times. Akarana, karuna, avyaja karuna. There is no reason for it. There are so many incidents that I can remember very vividly, though, right here on the George Bush, coming back from Fort Worth. I think half of my life I spent on the freeway of George Bush. 190 care of address. If I am not home, I must be there. So coming back, something hit the tire and the entire tire got ripped off. And we were 5 people in the car. 5? No, that day I was alone, I think. Yeah. And it got ripped off, and luckily it was on the one which is the road, the lane which was next to the shoulder. I could see in the rear view mirror sparks coming out. It was on the rim. So I pulled out, and then with whatever light that was available, put on the hazard lights and started opening the tire to change it with whatever is the stepney that was there. And suddenly this pickup slows down and makes a very awkward U-turn on the highway, and then beams the light directly on my car. And this is at night 11 o'clock. And the old black lady steps out and she says, "Look, son, this is how far I can do my service." Don't expect me to, use the jack and change the tires. I can throw some light on when you are working. Tell me when you are done. And in the middle of the night, it's really dark, and suddenly comes this person, and nobody stopping them, nobody asking them to come and help. Out of their own, and waits there for those 15-20 minutes, change my car comfortably, change the tire of my car comfortably, and then I'm loading the tire into my car, thinking that after this I will go thank her. I shut the back door, and it's already going away. So Bhagavan appears in various forms. So in all such forms that Bhagavan appears, count your blessings. So many times we don't even recognize that such things are happening. We just think that we are entitled for it, if not for the Lord. So that Sarvatmakatva of the Lord is being explained henceforth. The Sarveshwaratva is done. No more Pataye. So Ishumadbhyaha Dhanvavibhyaha. Salutations to that Lord who is holding Ishu and Dhanu, the bow and arrow. See, bow and arrow can seem very threatening, but if they are somebody who is like in today's world, holding the weapon, like the cops, police, they are holding the weapon, and day in and day out, whatever be the climate or weather, whatever be the time of the day, whether it is hot sun or shivering cold or blizzard that is coming through, they stand there to bring in the sense of protection in the entire city. Have you ever wondered, they keep patrolling around all night through? A thankless job. So cops and police. Then there are those who are with the same kinds of weapons or more sophisticated ones. They are in the armed forces, the military or the air force and the navy, get trained, and the sense of dedication, the sense of offering, that they are offering their services for a higher purpose. So next time you see a cop or an armed person, armed forces person, you can chant this mantra. Nama ishu madhyo dhanva vibhyascha vo namaha. Because in their form, it is the Lord who is appearing in providing protection. The Lord need not appear in a very comical entrance, and there is all lights, and suddenly he comes and there is a silhouette, and that all can be done if there is a stage and there is enough lighting. Lord appears in various forms. See, we should also be humble enough to accept if there is that kind of help coming across to our direction. Sometimes the self-made man in us refuses. No, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. And then there's not much of a difference between us and a teenager. Because as parents, you reach out to a teenager and ask the teenager as to, can I help you? No, I'm fine, I'm good. So in that utmost humility, when we find such protectors, so in that humility he is saying, Nama ishumadbhyo dhanva vibhyascha vo namaha. that, oh Lord, we may not be in a position to protect ourselves, we may not be in a condition to save ourselves, but you come in, so that you come in these different forms so that we may be protected. Therefore, in utmost humility, all that I can offer is Namaha, salutations on both ends. Ubhayopari Namaha. This is with the bow of Vedanta. O Lord, shoot the arrow of the Mahavakya so that it pierces straight into our heart and all the knots of our heart are evaporated. Bhidyate hridaya granthihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Bhidyate hridaya granthi. Shoot that Mahavakya, arrow of Mahavakya in such a way that all the now don't wait for somebody to wait with an arrow and then shoot you with, it says Mahavakya. Don't go literally on this. A figurative meaning given, which means that when we are prepared enough at the evolved state of seekerhood, the Mahavakya Upadesha happens. And when that Mahavakya Upadesha happens, as I said, it starts with Tattvamasi, that thou art. Wherein you have to understand what that is, what I am, and what is the connection, Asi. Now, as the intensity of that understanding increases, you are not still hanging on to Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi gets dropped. Like you have left a note for your child. You have to go out somewhere. It was unexpected, but there is food in the fridge. Warm it up and eat. This is the message. And if after a couple of hours you call your child back saying, did you get the message? What is the answer that you are expecting? It's not just yes. I have already had it, isn't it? Similarly, when the Guru to the qualified student gives the Mahavakya Upadesha saying Tattvamasi, like Shvetaketu's father says to him, Hey Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi. So go meditate on it. And then the intensity of that meditation, when that Tattvamasi drops, what is the experience? Aham Brahmasmi. And the teacher says, go meditate again. Why? Who is claiming it? There is still somebody trying to claim that I am that Brahman. Fine, but not fine. Good progress, but still a long way to go. हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, दिल्ली बहुत दूर है, केवल दूर नहीं, बहुत दूर है. Without disappointment, the Shishya again goes and meditates intensely on this Aham Brahmasmi, to finally merge this Aham Tattva into that Brahma Tattva. And then when asked, when the Guru comes and asks, Beta, kahan tak pahunche ho? Where did you reach? Then comes the statement that Prajnanam Brahma. The whatever is this consciousness that is illumining is nothing but Brahman. कौन बोल रहा है? Who is speaking? Who is saying this? Prajnanam eva. Then who are you? Satchidananda Swarupa. Shivoham Shivoham. There is that pure consciousness alone. May our hearts be pierced with that intensity of understanding, that clarity of understanding of this Mahavakya. That is when all our puja, all our upasana, all our japa, everything culminates into that dhyana. Dhyanat evatu kaivalyam. If I may add, natu anyatha. No other method. Moving forward, expanding this sarvatmakatva as a continuation with the same ishumadbhyaha and dhanvavibhyaha. Continuing, the next mantra says, where are we? If you say 10th Ajush, I cannot find the 10th Ajush because I am reading it from the mantra pushpa. So, nama atanvanebhyaha pratidadhanebhyascha वो नमो नम आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो. So Namaha, salutations. Salutations to whom? Atanvanebhyaha. Atanvanebhyaha. Atanoti. Now firmly exceeding, pulling. Tanoti means swelling, pulling, strongly holding and yanking it. So all these meanings comes with the root word tanoti. So atanoti, atanvanebhyaha. So what is atanoti here? What is being strongly held? Is when you hold the bow with one hand and hold the string. And how should that string be? String be pulled all the way to the ear, extending. Why not beyond that? That is the only scope that you have, beyond which there is no scope. If you have to increase the tenacity, then you have to do something with the bow, something with the string to increase that momentum. Otherwise, the farthest that you can exceed is till the ear. So, the fully extended. Atanvanebhyaha. Is it just the bow and the string which is being pulled? Because sometimes when Bhagavan Ramchandra ji is described, even Lakshman ji for that matter, when he goes to Kishkinda and after the Chaturmasya, when the rains were really downpouring, Bhagavan said, let us take a time out. You also settle down, take your time. After this Chaturmasya, then we will go. See, most of the Chaturmasya starts with that concept. Chaturmasya is when, because the sadhus and sannyasis would constantly be on foot, and to travel on foot during rainy season becomes difficult. Therefore, stay put. And because you are staying in one place, you can get consumed and attached to that one place. Therefore, keep the rigors of your sadhana of the highest order. So there is this Nityabhisheka, then there is the Upanishad Parayana, then there is Shravana. So there is constantly something or the other activity happening. So that your focus is constantly on the Lord. So after the Chaturmasya, there is no response from Sugriva. Bhagavan he has to be careful. The only one now he has is Lakshmana, and Lakshmana is also little ticked off because of Sugriva's irresponsible nature. जाके देख तो मार के आ गया तो. So very cautiously he tells him that go warn him and warn him only, that I am thinking of him. That is the message that you have to deliver, that is it. And according to Kaikeyi's different regulations, Ramji should not enter into the city, because if he enters into city and starts getting lot of kingdoms supporting him, before these 14 years he can come back with an army and attack Ayodhya, and Manthara was such a, in today's world she would have been, what do you call them, the secretary of defense? No, the one who advises the president, secretary of defense. She could have been befitting that post. What a strategist. So Lakshmana is also warned. So right from outside, he just pulls his bow and takes the string, and the jhankar of that string which is being released brings in shivers in our Sugriva. It's just that is enough to announce how mad was Lakshmana. There was no arrow there, there was just this string that was pulled, and that sound itself was threatening. But here, pratidadhanebhyascha, adadhana is to hold, pratidadhana is to sandhana, is to put the arrow on that string and then pull it. So to that Lord, who is not just holding the bow, who is not just holding and pulling the string, but the string is also now set with an arrow. Now, every time the poor devotee sees the Lord with the bow and arrow, there is a little shiver in the devotee's mind also. कि भगवान किस पे चलाने वाले हो? On whom are you going to use this arrow now? No, it is a change. That is a Manyu Rupa. So in the Manyu Rupa, the Lord was definitely angry with that devotee, and with his promise of steadfast walking on this path, then the Lord releases it onto the Arishad Varga and various other things. But here, this form is not of the Lord in particular, but it is anybody who has taken the weapon and is about to use the weapon. In that form, I see the Lord. Earlier it was the Lord himself, now I see that Lord in everyone, now especially in the one who has taken that form. So therefore, what are we worshipping here? See, in the Adi Daivika world, everything functions, even Mrityur Dhavati Panchama iti, even the Mrityu is scared of the Paramatma, and they function meticulously in their particular field as ordained by the Lord according to his Sankalpa. So, his Sankalpa he can release through various aspects of this nature and sets them into motion, like in the form of lightning, in the form of a earthquake, or a, what do you call those, lava coming out, volcano. I am reading so much of Sanskrit, my English is getting blocked these days. Volcano, right. So in these various aspects, you see the waves, it is fine, but the wave becomes a wall. There is a terrible form of energy. So in all these natural disasters, O Lord, make sure that you protect us, your devotees. There is another beautiful meaning. There was one great sadhu in Mount Abu, Mandaleshwar, Mahesh Anandagiri. So he writes, Atanvate vichitra shilpanitya atanvanaha. Meaning, different kinds of things that are being produced. Different kinds of inventions, and all these different kinds of inventions have also a lot of enticing nature to it. The one who inspires all these people to produce these different enticing things in this beautiful universe, and not just produce, release them in front of us. So it is not just the Lord who creates beautiful divine world. Even all these inventions and other things is an inspiration from Him alone. Now as a devotee, Lord, you may inspire them. You may inspire those who are marketing them into the world. You may inspire them to release them into the world as well. May you protect our minds to not get trapped in such enticing world. As in the entire Bhaja Govindam he says that always maintain the dosha drishtya muhur muhu. Instead of getting trapped in it, always find a reason why you would not require it and stay far away from it. So it said, Socrates was also preaching the same thing, that he would say that don't get trapped in this worldly things. One day they saw him escape through the back door. Not escape, he was walking out of the back door. They thought that he was escaping out from the back door. They were intrigued, where is this fellow going? So they followed him, and soon they found that he was right in the marketplace, gaping at all these beautiful worldly things that he was criticizing just then. So they said, Pakadenge aaj. Today he is caught red-handed. So they caught him and they said, Kyun bhaiya? You preach one thing and do something else? So his answer is so beautiful. It reminds me of the answer of what Adi Shankaracharya gives. Mama palayanam api mithya. We know that story, right? So Socrates looks at them and smiles and he says, I am just looking at this beautiful universe as to how many useless things are there that I don't need. O Lord, may you protect us from getting lost away from the thought of you, away from the focus on you, away from finally merging in you and abiding in you. Anything that takes away, may you always protect us from this vichitra shilpa nitya atanvanaha. With this beautiful universe that you inspire them to create, may I be personally protected. May I not get lost in these worldly things. This is the different kind of a meaning for this particular mantra. Now moving forward, next mantra. Nama ayachadbhyo visrajadbhyascha vo namo. Nama ayachadbhyo visrajadbhyascha vo namo. You don't need to repeat that. Nama ayachadbhyo visrajadbhyascha vo namaha. Again salutations. Ayachadbhyah. I'll cover that. Ayachadbhyah. Those who are, the earlier one, they were trying to draw the string. Now they have completely drawn the string and they are holding the visrajadbhyah. Visrajadbhyah, not just holding it, about to release it now. Like different stages. One, the bow is being held, they are checking the different aspects of it, they are checking the arrow. Then he is tying the string. Then he is holding it and testing the string. And now all testing is done. He is holding it and is about to release it. Visrujadbhyah cha and vaha. Vaha unto you. Namaha. To such ones who are now releasing the arrow, to him my salutations. To him in the form of Lord Shiva, my salutations. Now the fearful form of Lord Shiva, in the form of those who have drawn that string of the bow and the arrow is already set, just about to be released. Now who are these? These are those who come across in our life as our well-wishers, parents, teachers, who for disciplining us, they draw severe steps so that it benefits us. And when I was reading this mantra, I had a big smile ear to ear, that whatever we had named between us, me and my brother, we had a code word. When dad was angry, so we would say either Durvasa, or we would call him as RT. RT meaning Rudra Tandava. So it gets justified now. And what is that one common dialogue after having taken that strict measures to discipline the child that every parent gives out? हम तेरे शत्रु थोड़ी ना है. We are not your enemies. This was done for your good only. And the child looking, yeah, right, for my good only. But in that form, I invoke that Rudra Tattva of all those well-wishers, parents, teachers who have tried to discipline us and straighten us to put us back on the path, on the track. Not just well-wishers, parents and teachers. Any such experience that has shaken us up to put us back onto the track. Because in this world it is so easy to lose focus and get sidetracked, and something jolts us and then we suddenly remember. And then we say, oh God, I have slipped quite a bit. I get back on track. That experience is that expression of that Rudra Tattva. Again, continuing the similar thought that was given in the earlier mantra, that this nature which dances to the tunes of Paramatma, the Ishvara, at his instructions, and brings about these hurricanes or tsunamis or volcanic eruptions or floods or famine. These are awaiting to be released. The prayer is, O Lord, may we be protected May we all straighten our path, that you do not release such a havoc into this kingdom, into this world. Meaning that even such things what happen is not a mistake that happens. The nature's fury is also the way of Lord's functioning. But somehow in our new way of education and the way we are taught and the way we grow up, when we see such things happening, we question as to what is the benefit, how can Lord do such mean things? Especially when there was that tsunami, there were so many people, what about 200,000 people? More than that? Just one evening and done. I can only tell so much, that yes, that many people lost their lives. It feels saddening. But in his, the cosmic way of handling things, there is never anything that happens which does not have a reason as to why it is happening. It is not a chaos, it is not a mistake. Now, if you ask me as to exactly what must be that reason, well, you are knocking on a wrong door. I am only Sarvesha, you have to ask Sarveshwara. You have to ask that Paramatma. So, for all these things that you are capable of releasing unto such Lord who can run such a havoc, my salutations and prostrations. Now, Vishnu Suri often in his commentary goes little off track here and there, but he brings about sometimes very good meanings. In this particular mantra, he says, Ayachadbhyaha and Visrajadbhyaha are being taken to mean to them who is responsible for drawing it to themselves and then releasing. Ayachadbhyaha and Visrajadbhyaha, drawing it to themselves and then releasing. And he says that the entire leg are the presiding deities, are the Upendra, who are the Rudra Amsha. So, to such Rudra Amsha in the legs, it is like we draw the leg up towards ourselves and then Visrajadbhyaha, we put it forward. So, that entire movement of walking happens because of the presence of this Upendra, Rudragana. To such Rudraganas, my salutations. And with this meaning, there is another Mahatma who adds a different glory to this meaning. He says, anything that we can draw the full resourcefulness of positive energy within and then unleash that into the world, through us to the world, in the form of service, in the form of seva, in the form of compassion, in the form of reaching out to those who are in need. In such attitude, it is that Rudra Amsha which is being worshipped. So, which ties down to Gurudev's pledge. Service to the country is, or service to the nation is the service to the Lord of Lords. And it is the same thing that is being tied in here. Ayachadbhyaha, pull all your resourcefulness, the entire positive energy, and then release that into the world. So, what is our usual pattern? The mind psychologically has got this very beautiful or uncanny knack to pick on only negative things, draw on only negative things. The best thing was in one of the 7th grades class that in Balavihar here, I was explaining to them the half glass empty and half glass full concept. You should not focus psychologically, we focus on that empty part and feel always sad, always bad as to that much was not available, that much is not there, that much. And instead focus on that which is available. Use that as a resource, use that as your bottom line and launch yourself. This kid looks at me after everything and says, your example is wrong. I said, I am ready to accept it provided you give me a better logic. He says, you know what kind of resource is. Put it in a glass which exactly fits in. Then your glass is always full. Then you have to never worry about that empty part at all, because there was never an empty part. And the same thing that I was trying to tell, he puts it in a more profound manner. I said, kid, if you have this attitude after you get out of your university, meaning when the real life hits, as they say, the metal on the pedal, pedal on the metal, what? The tire hits the road. When the tire hits the road and you still have the same attitude, you will be the most content, successful person. Just pull that entire resourcefulness, and that resourcefulness you push it out rather than drawing all the negative things and then feeling frustrated, and that frustration is unleashed. Like a pressure cooker waiting to burst open. I don't know if you have ever gone through it. I would be glad or happy or pray that you never have to go through that. Has ever the valve of the pressure cooker burst? Hey Ram. Lucky if you are not around, but frustrating enough because it goes all over the place, roof and everywhere, and then you have to end up cleaning the entire mess. Happened once, and looking at that I only had, I was laughing and laughing going through cleaning process. One valve of the pressure cooker bursts open, and you have this kind of mess, and as a human being we keep boiling and boiling, and almost every day we keep bursting. So much damage that we do instead of anything positive, constructive done or produced. So ayachadbhyaha, may I draw, which ties in again to another mantra, Bhadram karne bhishnuniyama devaha bhadram pashye makshabhir jatraha. So in those two mantras, when you go into the world, the first step of a sadhaka is, may I only interact with auspiciousness. So you will start hearing, आजकल तो हम मूवी वूवी नहीं देखते, why? खराब चीज है, bad thing, only auspicious. Watch Ramayana, watch Mahabharata, ऐसी चीज. We don't watch such movie. First level. Then the second level, because you soon come to realize that you can only avoid so much. When you are interacting with world, you cannot always remain in a shell. and you are giving the importance to that shell, that vulnerability is going to create lot of pain, lot of suffering. So what is the next stage? Come what may, I have my filters on. Whatever life throws at me, I filter it across and draw only that which is positive. Second stage of evolution. First stage is living in protected shell. It's okay that incubation is required for a certain time, for an initial seeker, it is required. But that is not a lifestyle to be maintained. You have to brave it. Develop your filters. Filters in such a way that all that which is disturbing or distracting, all that could impact us, filter it out, draw that which is those nuggets of little peace and happiness and joy in them, draw them and move forward. This is the second stage. Now third stage is when there is a complete U-turn, the heights of maturity, wherein instead of branding everything that we come across, whether experience, people, things, as good or bad, we just see them as the most appropriate, most required for me to grow from where I am to where I should be. There is never a bad experience that you go across. Every experience is the required experience to grow. So if it is looked at from that perspective, no experience has any hold to shake me, but instead that experience is actually a platform from which I can draw everything as a positive and then unleash positivity out into the world of interaction. Nama ayachadbhyo visajadbhyascha namaha. I think it was Kalidas ji. He says in one of his poetic marvel, he says people overrate, worship of sun is overrated. This is his statement. He says why? Instead of the sun, it is the moon who has to be worshipped. Why? Because moon by himself does not have his own glow. But the harsh sun's rays is all consumed by that moon, and what he releases out into the world is that Sheetalata. Ayachadbhyaha visrujadbhyaha. See, experiences can make you bitter if you are unconscious. But the same experiences can make you better if you are conscious. Ayachadbhyaha visrujadbhyaha. So to that Lord in these different experiences, my salutations, my prostrations. There is a third meaning. There is even more beautiful meaning. That word Upasarga added is asamantat, from all directions, from all sides. Yachadbhyaha, yacha dhatu is to give. The Lord who gives us various things from all different sides. Ayachadbhyaha. And then does what? Visrujadbhyaha. Visrujadbhyaha, he spins us around with all that which he has given. So here there are two different meanings given for this particular statement. One, Lord, you create enticing world. Your jagat is filled with maya. I cannot transcend it. Stop spinning me around, Visrujadbhyaha. Stop spinning me around. Let me get out of this cycle. One meaning. And this one meaning we have been hearing it in various different scriptures. What I liked is the twist that this Mahatma brings in. He says that, Lord, I had promised you in the beginning in your Manyu Rupa that I will change my course, and steadfastly follow this path. I would in fact request you that throw me from all different sides challenges and let me spin. Let me be tested. If not you testing us, how would I know where I stand? So please spin me around. And that meaning was a beautiful meaning that was brought out. That ayachadvyaha, give me all kinds of challenges from all different sides. And let me face them. Because that is how I will be tested. Otherwise, I am only in my own little lagoon, thinking that I have become very sattvic, thinking that my spirituality has evolved, thinking that now I am almost close to realization. I guess this happens with every Vedanta course. We were going through the Vedanta course and we were given, the last topic was after even the Brahma Sutras were, Chatusutri was done, then the Mandukya Karika. Now Mandukya Karika has got such an intense message and very logically proves that there is no Jagat. There is no world. What are you talking of mukti? If the world is existing, if the world is real and your attachment to that world is real, then talk about mukti. There is no world. What are you talking of bandhana? What are you talking of mukti? You are always mukta. And it gets straight into the head in such a way. No jagat, no bandhana. So, no seva, all our duties and responsibilities started falling apart. And Guruji said, let's play a practical thing on them. So, early morning, first class was the Mandukya Karika. And we were all like, almost like, just a half inch away from realization. Everybody is morose and what happened? That kind of sthiti. It must have been funny for looking from the other side. So after the class was done, by habit, from this building which is called Saraswati Nilaya, get into Annakshetra in the Bombay ashram. So as we got into Annakshetra, the doors were locked. So then we went and found the cook. So we asked the cook as to is something cooked. He said only for the workers. Today food was cooked and we all ate. There is no breakfast. So what kind of this nasty trick is this? So we went to Guruji and said, there is no breakfast today. And then he smiled and he said, no world, no seva, why breakfast? And it hit home the message very clearly. Unless we are tested, how would we know we are established? It is called the Stambha Sthira Nyaya. When you put a pillar, you don't just leave it. You shake it from all sides. And make sure that it is no more moving. It has reached that kutastha, that it has reached its firmness, that it doesn't move any further. So Lord, I promised you, I have been walking this path, now test me. Now probably the devotee's confidence also, the seeker's confidence also is that he has seen the grace of the Lord. The providence of the Lord is also experienced. That I may be tested but never be abandoned. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in being tested. Therefore, visrujadbhyaha. May we be spun around. See, the earlier one, the creativity, sruja is the dhatu. Okay, sruja is to bring that creativity. Visruja, vishesha sruja. Now here, visruja is the word wherein the meaning changes. Visruja is to abandon or throw or to spin. The Lord spin us, test us. There is nothing wrong. If not you, who can test? Test. I am ready for it. You see the confidence of the devotee now. So it is not the same Manyu Rupa, as you were saying in the earlier thing. It is not the same Manyu Rupa. Now the devotee or the seeker is prepared. That preparedness is being shown here. Now moving forward. The next part of the mantra. Namosyadbhyo vidhyabhyascha vo namo Namaha, salutations. Asyadbhyaha, asyadbhyaha, that which releases. Asyadbhyaha. Vidhyabhyascha vo namaha, and that which penetrates. So to both. That which has been released, the one who is releasing it, unto such form, the very expression of Lord Shiva, my salutations. And is it just like, no, it is something which is vidhyabhyascha. Vidhyabhyascha, that which penetrates. So to that penetrating arrow, the one who releases it, unto him my salutations and prostrations. Vaha namaha. Unto him my salutations and prostrations. Now, what good is all the energy being drawn if it is not productive, positive and constructive when you experience with the interaction outside? Otherwise, it is like Abhimanyu syndrome. We know how to get in, we don't know how to get out. We know how to draw all the energy from everywhere like a sponge, but it does not get released out into the world in a penetrating manner. हिंदी में कहते हैं ना कि 100 सोनार की, 1 लोहार की. When the sonar is the goldsmith. And when he works, his hammer is small, because he has to work very delicately on the, tok 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 tok. Whereas the lohar, the blacksmith, he doesn't work with small things. It is like penetrating, one boom, dhad. There was this Mr. Rao, in the old city. Usually the old city, the houses are so clamped in that there is no space in between the houses. There is no one wall to the other, one wall to the other. And poor this Mr. Rao was frustrated for years. His right side neighbor was a goldsmith and his left side neighbor was a blacksmith. And he could never get proper sleep. There was no peace. Constantly tuk, 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 thar, 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 tuk. So he kept requesting them, why don't you change, different places, go find a different workshop, live here. But those people continued. Finally, Mr. Rao thought, he called both of them and said, take this money. Okay. Find a new place. Change your houses. This is an ultimatum. So I said, okay, fine. If you are paying us, we will definitely find. And poor fellows tried to search. Their customers didn't agree, various logistics. But they promised that they will change. And Mr. Raoji went back to his, to have a good decent amount of sleep. And just as he slept, again the sound started. So he was mad. He called these both people. What is exactly happening? You promised that you will change. And we changed. He changed to my house, I changed to his house. See, the lohar and the sonar, the blacksmith and the goldsmith, they work. The intensity of the blow or the penetrating effect, you keep drawing like a sponge from the entire environment. But it's not just drawing, it is also to give. It has to reach out. And the reaching out has to be very penetrating. I tried. No, you did not try good enough. Don't we tell the same thing with our kids? Oh, I tried. That's not good enough. Why did you get only 99? I hear stories, I am just repeating those stories. I have never virtually seen one. What happened to that 1 mark? You should have given your best. But the solution is not giving our best. The solution is in understanding what is the best that is required by that situation. And catering to that situation is what is required. That is when it becomes penetrating. Every Mahatma who has created a wave of movement in this world, all that Vivekananda did about 120 years ago, or it was his 150th birthday, so birth centenary. So he was about 20 plus when he gave that. So it cannot be 150 years ago. Therefore, I am calculating it and saying 130 plus. So he stood there and he was nervous. He says it himself. That he himself was nervous that he had never spoken on a public platform. He looked at this, vast educated people standing there, and he thought of his Guru. Oh Guru, please flow through me. And the first words of endearment that were uttered shook the entire Sabha. It just totally vibrated. Just for the endearing statement, opening statement that he made, there was a standing ovation. And today when we think of it, what did he say? Brothers and sisters of America. That tadatmya that he found and related to them, adapted to that situation and gave the best that the situation was demanding. Now Gurudev, who himself was an educated lot, he was a journalist, and he felt an acute sense of pain or a misery that even though I consider myself as the cream of the society, educated society, how come for these many years of my life, or 35 years plus of my life, I have never had an opportunity to go through my own scriptures which has such beautiful depth and amazing wisdom. And that spark that lit in him, the kinds of things that he had to go through, what, days together with, just one meal, traveled across incessantly. Once somebody asked him, after way later, Swamiji, why did you speak for 100 days, 114 days, 120 days in certain places? His answer was, because no other place invited me. जब तक दूसरा बुलावा नहीं आया तब तक मैं चलाता रहा. He would advertise himself and to speak in English, and that to the Upanishads, to an open public, never heard of. He was convinced, and he made that penetrating effect by understanding what is to be delivered and gave that which was really beneficial, positive and productive to the society. Vidyabhyas, it has to be penetrating impact. It is not the amount that you do, it is the quality that you do. So the little mouse, no, not mouse. What's that jantu called? Squirrel. Everybody were helping Bhagwan Ramchandra ji. So it also wanted to help. So it goes inside, wets itself, comes onto the shore, rolls, runs into the onto the rocks which are being laid, dusts itself off, comes back, again rolls. Bhagwan said, "Kar kya rahe ho? What exactly are you trying to accomplish?" Said, "Bhagwan, the stones are very harsh and you have to walk this long path. I cannot lift stones, but at least I can sprinkle some sand on these stones so that when you walk it is soft for your walk." The intensity with which it was being done, it has to have that penetrating effect. Otherwise, eat, sleep, wake up, again go to the same chore, again come back. This is what my life, story of my life. Everybody gets the opportunity. Let us make that penetrating impact, and when that penetrating impact happens, that expression of Lord Shiva, my salutations and prostrations unto. Ayachadbhyo visajadbhyascha vo namaha, asyadbhyo vidyabhyascha vo namaha. The rest of this particular Anuvaka is a pretty straightforward mantra that we will see tomorrow, which is almost equivalent to one of the bhajans that our children sing. Standing, sitting, walking, running, every expression is very straightforward meaning that we will see. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.